So it's recording right now? Okay, great. All right. Welcome to another episode of Let Lacey Tell It. So today's icebreaker is going to be about the fact that I think that we need to come to the classroom and actually talk about the definition of mean. Okay, let's really talk about it. I was having a conversation with someone, and it was a joking conversation, but you know what they say is seriousness in every joke. And they were like, they labeled me as mean. Okay, and that's not something new. I've been labeled as mean before. It is what it is. So I said, you know what? Let me sit with that. And I actually did a TikTok video of this the other day. And I actually need to recant my statement on TikTok because I said, I'm not mean, I'm nice, but I'm not nice, I'm kind. There's a difference. After further consideration, I need to recant my statement. And so I really want to talk about it because I think that when people hear that, they like, oh, you're not friendly. No, I'm not. I'm not friendly. In fact, I don't want to be around people all the time and feel like I have to fake a funk. And now I'm around these people all day. Like, no. So let's actually talk about it because I think a lot of us were raised to value being nice. I think we can all agree to that. Or being friendly. But nobody really taught us how to define kindness because those are not the same thing. So let's have a little session real quick. Let's talk about kind. So to me, in my opinion, and this is debatable because everybody has their own definition, but we can all just pull out the dictionary. And, you know, that's not argumentative. If you want to argue with the dictionary, we got a real problem on our hands. So to me, being kind is about intention and consistency. It's about how you treat people when it actually matters, not just when it's easy or convenient. It's really about how, like, you just genuinely having it in the kindness of your heart, like genuine care, being honest with people without being harmful, showing up when it counts the most. Typically, people who are kind, they show up all the time, but they're gonna make sure that they show up, especially when it counts the most for the person that they're showing up for. So the confusion with being kind is that people who are kind don't care about being liked. That's the confusion. So because I don't care about being liked, now I'm mean. When in reality, being kind, like I said, is about how you treat people when it counts. And the thing about kindness is it doesn't always look soft. Okay? It doesn't always look sugary and sweet. All right? It don't look like that. Sometimes kindness is honesty. Sometimes kindness is your friend telling you, girl, you need to stop leaving him. He didn't care about you from day one. Sometimes that's the kindness. All right? Sometimes kindness is boundaries. Like, didn't I communicate to you that I don't like when you do that? Since you have crossed this boundary, this is the consequences for that. That is kind. And sometimes kindness is saying no. That's funny because the other day, my mom was at the house visiting Denver. And she asked me something. I don't remember what it was that she asked me. Oh, she asked me, she was like, give me my baby. Mind you, I had just picked up Denver from being with my parents for almost a week. So I'm like, I'm spending time with her. This is my baby. She was like, you know what? I understand you're big on boundaries and everything, but you take this saying no thing too far. I said what I said, boo. So now we didn't talk about the definition of being kind. I think we can all agree that we understand now the definition of kind. You might disagree, but like I said, we can always go back to the dictionary. Let's talk about what it means to be nice. Okay? Being nice is different than being kind. Being nice is you think of someone who is polite, who is agreeable. Nice keeps things comfortable. Okay, they say what people want to hear. They avoid conflict, so they're typically not confrontational. If you offend them, they typically laugh it off, act like they didn't hear you, and be in your face tomorrow. They're nice. Okay, nice is more so about comfort. Kind is about care. All right, and so if we're being real, like nice can be fake. I mean, that's a popular term these days. Everybody want to say that they real and, you know, so on and so forth. And so when we think about the definition of nice, like when you hear nice, it's literally like it gives people pleaser vibes. That's what it gives. And I don't know about y'all, but me, I don't want nobody around me that's gonna be tiptoeing, people pleasing me, because give it to me straight. Okay. Nice can also, if you think about it, can be you portraying yourself just to keep peace. So sometimes nice looks like staying in situations longer than what we need to, whether it's a relationship, friendship, or in cahoots with family members, just because I'm being nice. So now my peace is being disturbed because I'm being nice, because I care more about you making sure you're happy, you're good, than my own self. See, being kind would have told you, like, look, I love you. I don't agree with what you're doing, but I'm going to have to step back because I love you. There's nothing wrong with that, y'all. It's literally nothing wrong with that. So anyway, I think in conclusion, we understand that kindness is consistent and niceness is situational, because that's what it is. People be nice based on the situation. When you meet somebody that's kind, they kind all the time, period. It's not situational. So now let's talk about being friendly. This is my favorite one because I hate me a nigga that's friendly. Do I though? So then there is friendly. Friendly is an energy. That's it. When somebody is known as being friendly, it's a vibe. It's life of the party. It's they with all the vibes. That's it. It's literally how you come off in a room with people, whether it's one person, two people, three people, whatever. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb because people acting like they don't respect the queen. Nonetheless, friendly is a vibe, is what I was getting back to. It's just about how you making people feel. Smiling, engaging, warm. Like, I have certain friends that are friendly. I'm not friendly. I got certain friends that are friendly, and I take them to environments that require me to be friendly because they gonna do it for me. So naturally, I then come off as friendly to other people that I'm in the room with because they rubbing off on me. But see, I also have friends that are not friendly. My best friend is not friendly at all. She could care less about who in the room, making anybody feel warm, but she don't care about none of that, okay? So when I'm in an environment that requires me to be friendly, I'm not bringing her. Because now we both in the room, like, why are we here? And so that comes with knowing your people. But anyway, friendly is a vibe. There's no value in being friendly. That's it. And to me personally, everybody don't deserve that type of energy from you. That's me. I don't think that everybody deserves that, because everybody that you're giving that energy to, half of those people don't even care about you. When you leave out the room, they talking about you. I have witnessed it. And it just make you be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? But again, being friendly is mistaken for being kind because they have this energy about them. You automatically assume that they're kind people. They're friendly. Okay? Being friendly literally is just means that you're easy to approach. It's just that simple. You easy to start a conversation with, you easy to go out with, like you easy. You easy, like they say about the girl. You easy. But like I said, it doesn't mean you're kind or genuine or that you care about people. It literally means that you're just a vibe. Okay. So I guess that's cool. So now let's get into mean. Because if I hear this again, you're mean, you're mean, you're mean. And most of the time, this comes from people that I've actually helped. Was I mean when I was helping you? And see, I did it out the kindness of my heart. So when you told me that I was mean, I didn't even have to backfire and say, well, was I mean because I did it out the kindness of my heart. But I really be wanting to understand, do y'all even understand what it means to call somebody mean for real? Like when I hear that somebody is mean, I'm hearing nasty. You intentionally do stuff to hurt people's feelings. You intentionally say, like you planned it. I done met some mean people that I didn't even know was mean because it was masked as being nice, as being friendly. And boy, when them tables turned, they said some stuff and did some stuff that had me like, oh, you are not my kind. So when we talk about being mean, when you mean to somebody, the intent is to hurt. Okay. Y'all ever hear about people saying like, oh, I stopped messing with you once you bring up my personal life? Those people, the people that do that are mean people. When we get into it, you start bringing up my personal life, throwing jabs at me, trying to hurt. You're trying to hurt my feelings on purpose because you feel like I did or said something that hurt your feelings. Instead of just saying, hey, let me be an adult. What you said hurt my feelings. I didn't like that. Like, a lot of things end just because people don't want to be adults for real. That's another conversation for another day. Okay. So when you mean, you're not mean on accident, you mean on purpose. That's the choice. You chose to go that far. So am I mean? Absolutely not. Are you confused? Absolutely. So that wraps up the icebreaker today. I guess I'm gonna have to make a new TikTok and correct myself. And I'm gonna leave that one there because one thing about growth, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to do research and find that what you thought you believed about yourself or about other people or about other topics is not what you believe anymore. And those things can change within an hour. I don't know. But I'm gonna leave that there. I know people like to delete when they change their mind, and then people be talking about them, and then some people be acting like the clips you still can't find them. That's petty. I'm going too far. All right, let's get into today's topic. So today we're gonna talk about titles. Oh my gosh. We're gonna talk about, you see the hat is fitting because I could be meaner, I guess. But we're gonna talk about titles today, because it came to mind really when something happened. So a lot of my topics come from just like life, whether it's me in conversation with other people. And I guess some people, she talking about me on the pod. No, boo, but you influenced the topic. That's the thing. Like anything that we all get on social media and talk about was influenced by something. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest. So something happened the other day where we were talking about the topic of godparents, not grandparents, godparents came up. And it made me think about when I was pregnant. Someone asked me about godparents for Denver. And I was like, I don't know about no godparents. Actually, I did a whole TikTok. It went viral on TikTok about godparents because I feel like when you start to give people titles, granted, the people that already have titles, simply because y'all are related beyond your control, it, it already goes far left. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, I'm about to give somebody a title. Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's how it came up. And then I started thinking about that TikTok I did, talking about godparents. And I purposely did not give Denver any godparents. And it's no shade to the people that when they find out they pregnant and they peed on the stick yesterday, the baby got godparents tomorrow. No shade. That's just not my cup of tea. I'm very intentional about everything I do in my life. People I decide to associate with, the people that when they start running out of their time, when I cut them off, I'm intentional about that. I don't do things. I try not to do things out of emotion, is what I'm gonna say. So when I was pregnant, Denver did not have any godparents at all. Honestly, having godparents was a conversation that came up, and I was just like, I'm not interested. Because when you start to put titles on people, you have expectations of them. And then when they don't perform, now you're in your feelings. When really it goes back to, was this a title that I should have gave you in the first place? Was this something that I should have put on you in the first place? My bad. See, a lot of us, we ain't old enough to be like, my bad. You know what I'm saying? Instead, we like, I made you baby godparent. You ain't did nothing. Well, what were they doing while you were pregnant? Let's take it back. What were they doing while y'all were friends? Oh, Don Julio and hookah? Okay. So anyway, that was my reasoning. I just wanted to see, okay, like who gonna really show up for me? Like this is a new time in my life. Like this is considered a milestone in my life. So who's gonna really be showing up and being there? And I'm talking about past anything as far as going out to eat. And I love all my friends that made sure I was fed while I was pregnant. I mean, I had friends that went out their way to go downtown. And what's that? Knuckle sandwich. Knuckle sandwich. Hate to see me coming when I was pregnant. I had a friend that would go downtown. Mind y'all, I live in Grovetown. She would go from her house to downtown to my house to bring me knuckle sandwich. So it was deeper than that for me, but I had friends that really showed up. I needed to have my room transformed, going from sharing a house, for having a house with just myself to having to share something. Like now my house looks like something I don't even recognize. But I had a friend that said, hey, you still need help with this, this, this? Okay, I'm on the way. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend who it's 3:00 in the morning and I'm texting her like, I can't stand this. And I'm going in. And she's like, Lacey, just calm down. Your feelings are valid. You know what I'm saying? So then I had friends that was like, do you need anything done? I did snap on these friends when I had that question because yes, I always need something done. You know what I'm saying? And after I snapped, I never got that question again. Instead, it was, hey, I'm coming over to clean for you. I had a friend that came over to clean for me. 2 friends, actually. And so when I was thinking about godparents, I was thinking deeper than just showing up for me. It was more so about someone who shares the same morals and values that I do. That if I was not here, I could trust you to raise her with me in thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what that was about. It wasn't about who's buying the most gifts. It wasn't about who's buying the gifts that cost the most. It wasn't about who's able to spend time with her all the time, because you can show effort in many different ways. Maybe distance plays a factor, so your way of showing up is calling every day at 3 p.m. Maybe that's your way of showing up. I'm going to receive that. Denver's grandpa, he lives in Minnesota. Denver has seen him, I think, twice since she's been born. But he makes a habit, and shout out to him. Let me use this little button. Yes, okay, I'm learning things. And so shout out to him because he makes an active effort to be in her life, even though he all the way in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? He makes a active effort to know her milestones, what she doing now, what she don't like, why she crying, or what the doctor say. I don't have to ask him to still be an active grandparent all the way in Minnesota. So shout out to him. So that's just an example of like some of the things that I was looking at. And so I remember one of my TikTok comments when I had went viral on that TikTok, it was like, you doing too much. You just need to be grateful to the people that's around you that want to help. You're doing too much commenting. I'm going to show you doing too much. Look in the mirror. Because that comment was so unnecessary. And I think we get so caught up in people just being present. You can be present and still not be here. We get so caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say that to your man. You still want him to take you on dates. But okay. So, that's what it was for me. And so I went my whole pregnancy, no godparents. I'm just I even did a TikTok. And I think that some of my friends may have felt some type of way. I'm not sure. I can't speak for them. But I had said, Denver only has one aunt. I said that. I think I said Denver only has one aunt or something like that. I might have said she ain't got no aunts. I don't remember the verbiage I used, but at the end of the day, the moral of the story was just because we friends don't mean that you my baby auntie. That's how deep I was into titles. And so let me give some backstory. Growing up, I had all these aunts and uncles. I even had a goddaddy, allegedly. Mom, if you're looking at this, maybe you can tell me if that was actually true or not, now that I'm almost 30. But I had all these people of high titles, and they seen what I was struggling with or going through or whatever, and I don't remember them ever lending a hand. Matter of fact, still to this day, I don't talk to any of them. I don't know if they're still alive. I don't know where they are. And so getting so caught up in those titles, and then once we would move from place to place to place, none of those people stuck. So then when I came into my adult life, I was just like, I'm not doing that. Even with the friendship stuff, to know me is to know. It take a long time for me to actually use the word friend with you. If I'm describing you to anybody, 9 out of 10, I'm saying my homeboy or my homegirl because I don't know you yet. I don't know you. Just because we went out, had a good time, or maybe you helped me with something, cool. I appreciate the help and I appreciate the fact that we had a good time, but we are not friends. And that comes from being backdoored so many times because I know what type of loyalty I bring to a situation. So when I don't get that, it's like, oh no, this ain't for me. So anyway, so that played a part into me saying like, my baby don't have no aunties or uncles. Y'all are Mr. and Mrs. And I think that some people felt some type of way about that. I mean, if you are one of my friends and you're watching this, I hope that you didn't, because you should not have. But it's just more so a boundary thing for me because I don't want Denver to get older and she asking about auntie such and such and auntie such and me then fell out because you ain't send me half of the money for the hookah. Like, I don't want to do that. Women fall out over the silliest things. Like, it's beyond me the things that women fall out over, but the same things that they want from a man, they won't even give in their friendships. Come on, choir. Okay, preaching to the choir right now. Let me stay on topic. So anyway, that's how I got to the whole godparent thing. And then I feel like when you start giving people titles, there comes a level of entitlement with the title. And you never bigger than the program. I know we all think that we are, but the truth is, realistically, you're never bigger than the program. I don't care who you are. You never bigger than the program. So for me personally, I just didn't have, I didn't do the whole godparent thing while I was pregnant. Now, after I had Denver, I want to say Denver was maybe 5 months, 4 months, maybe even 6 months. I don't think it went past 6 months. Um, I started thinking about it and it was real heavy on my chest because the truth is, even the younger dying, and you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. And I wanted to make sure that she had somebody that would still follow the same morals, guidelines. They still share the same principles I have, even though we parent differently, may see things differently. I can count on this person to always say, okay, what would Lacey have wanted in this situation? To the best of my ability, what can I assume she would have wanted? And so that's when I made the decision to make my best friend Denver's godmom. It wasn't about us being friends the longest. It wasn't about anything other than the facts that I trust this person to lead my daughter into being a woman the way that I would have wanted. I trust this person from even a religion standpoint. I trust this person mentally. I know that this person knows how much therapy means to me, and they would see that she gets help if that was ever a thing. And so that's what it was for me because truthfully, we have, like I said earlier, there are people that have titles beyond our control, and what do they do with them? Like, you know what I'm saying? And hey, only a hit dog gonna holler, so don't holler too loud. But automatically, there is an assumption with that, right? An expectation with that. So it's like, okay, if you're my friend, you'll show up. If you're my friend, you're supposed to show up. See how that expectation is? Like there, if you're my friend, you're supposed to show up, period. End of story. When the truth is, first of all, coming into an adult and having adult friendships, life be happening. Life be lifing, okay? Life be lifing. And I'm going to communicate should I not be able to show up. But I think the biggest thing is, who are you consistently as a friend? Are you the friend that consistently shows up? And so this one time that you're not able to, I'm not, taken aback by it. Or are you the type of friend that every time it's time to show up for me, you don't show up for me, but I show up for you? Because now we're not friends, boo. It's giving opportunists. That's what it's giving. It's giving aesthetics. That's what it's giving. Okay? So now when we talk about godparent, right? If you're a godparent, you'll be present. That's it. You'll be present. I was just having a conversation with somebody about this. Like making people godparents and you can't depend on them. Like, is it just because y'all friends? Y'all cool? Y'all the coolest out the circle? I'm confused. Help me understand. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that these people you should be able to depend on these people all the time. But what I'm saying is, if I can count how many times I've been able to depend on you, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay? If you hold a title in my life, you'll carry responsibility. But that's not always reality. Like I just mentioned that by saying there are people in our lives that have titles beyond our control. Okay? And so now we're going to talk about, let's go into a deeper thought of with the entitlement. People start to feel old access because of a title. Oh, I'm your mama. I remember when I first had Denver, and one of my rules was do not take pictures of my baby on your phone. And do not send the pictures that I send to you to other people. And I remember early into my postpartum, I think I was maybe 2 weeks postpartum. And I had a very rough postpartum experience in the beginning. Very rough. Another story for another day. My mom was at the house visiting, and I overheard her in the room kikiing and shit. Kikiing. With one of our cousins. I don't have no beef with the cousin. You know, cousin, if you end up watching this. Because when you start talking about boundaries, people automatically associate beef with boundaries. And so she's in there kikiing or whatever, and she's spending time with Denver. And I heard her on the phone. And so she on FaceTime. And she in there showing him my baby. And when she came in my room, she was like, oh, your cousin, we'll call him Chris. Your cousin Chris says she looked just like you, da-da-da. First thing I said to her was, didn't I tell you I didn't want nobody to see my baby outside of the family? Didn't I tell you that? Now enjoy your time with your granddaughter and tell cousin Chris you'll call him later. Thank you. Because you all on FaceTime showing my baby. If I wanted cousin Chris to see my baby, cousin Chris wouldn't have to see it through FaceTime, boo-boo. And so she was like, And she on the phone with the cousin like, oh, Lacey in one of her moods. She being mean. No, I'm not in one of my moods. I'm actually letting you know, since you forgot, the boundary that I had put in place. But because you're mom, you thought that because you're my mom, what I said was small compared to who you are to me. That's my child. I run the show here. It's my ship, boo. You are a passenger at this point, okay? And that's not just to my mama. That's in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's an example of how a title can create entitlement. I'm sure we Black. In Black households, they use that term, I'm still your mama. Mama, I am not a baby. I am your baby and will always be your baby, but I'm not a baby. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes I think as we're growing up, it's hard for them to actually realize that we're growing up. So I have extended some grace there to some family members, but that don't mean I won't check you. Okay. And I guess that's where the mean come into play. Anyway, another thing that it creates is that people expect loyalty without effort. Loyalty without effort is crazy. That's crazy to me. But that's what happens when you start giving titles. I've had people that, like I said, with the family word, and the loyalty was on sale, buy one, get one half off. And I was like, oh shit. So that just goes to show that you can't automatically associate titles with the expectation that, okay, because whatever we are in the family tree, you gonna give me loyalty. It don't happen that way. People assume closeness without consistency. So what that means is that people automatically say, because we're close, I don't have to show you anything outside of that. We just close, we tight. Okay, girl. See, I know people be on social media saying, I'm a low maintenance friend. I think that's supposed to be floating around. I'm a low maintenance friend. You played yourself. Y'all saying y'all low maintenance friends, but if I go on some of y'all threads and Twitters, y'all on here talking about the friends. It's okay to have standards in your friendship. It is okay to have boundaries in your friendships while still understanding we are still all adults. We still have our own life. Where you're at in your journey, I might not be in my journey. That don't mean that we don't have to be friends. Like it's okay to understand that and still exist together. I have friends that are on a different journey than I am. I have friends that don't have no kids. I'm not finna unfriend them because they don't have kids. I just want to do kid stuff with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so some people think that the title alone just gives them a place in your life. Like the title alone, like, oh, you should come see me because I'm grandma. Grandma, this is 2026. And I think for so long, because it's been a generational thing. Like it's a generational thing. And now that we're older, at least my generation, they basically saying, no, that's not how that works. You talking about I should call you and check on you. What's wrong with your phone? What's wrong with your fingers? Forget the phone. Do the fingers work? Because that's what matters. Like effort got to go both ways. Okay. So a title can make people feel entitled to a role they're not actually fulfilling. Let me say that again. A title can make people feel entitled to a role they are not actually fulfilling. My dad said something so powerful. They think he nice. That's debatable. But he said something so powerful. He be saying something along the lines of like he picked his family. I don't remember how he said it, but he picked his family or whatever. And it's something like that. And it's basically based on the people who show up for him. And it doesn't knock the family that he came from. It's just that for so long we have been, I guess, the way to explain it without sounding harsh is like we have been made to believe that that's the family we came from is the only family we're ever going to have. That's it. And because they're family, certain things they're automatically entitled to. But the truth is that the title is just a label. That's it. The behavior is the real role. I have family members that have gotten remarried. And this is no shade to who they remarried. But I only have one auntie and one uncle. Once you remarry after that, boo, that is Miss such and such or Mr. such and such, or I'm going to call you your name. I'm not finna keep going down this rabbit hole of auntie and uncle because let me tell you something. Now that I'm almost 30, I take titles more serious than I ever have. And I say, that's not something my auntie would do to me. That's not something my uncle would do to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, my grandmother is now a widow. I told her, if you get remarried, that's not my grandpa. I had one grandpa. He was the best thing smoking. Okay. So if you think that you're going to get remarried, I'm being here like grandpa. First of all, I'm almost 30. I'm not going to be playing these games with y'all. It didn't work the first time. Cool. I don't have no problem with it. And if this is your first time, that's still cool. That is not my auntie. That is not my uncle. Okay? That is Miss such and such or the name or whatever you was born with on your certificate. And that's as much as I got for you. All right. And so when we talk about titles being just a label and the behavior is the real role, then we start talking about how access is earned, not titled. There are a lot of people that don't have access to me. And they can spin whatever narrative they want to about that. If they were to ever ask me why they don't have access to me, I would happily tell them in the most respectful way why they don't have access to me. But just because you have a certain title does not mean that I have to give you access. Now, out of respect, I do, I guess, what you can consider the bare minimum. I'm going to speak. I might hug you if I'm feeling good and it's Friday. I'm just kidding. Probably not. I'm just not a hugger. Hugging Hugging is so cringe to me. Hugging just makes me so uncomfortable. Like, my mama was leaving the other day and she hugged me and I did a little church hug. She's talking about, you're never gonna grow out of that. And people who have not taken the time out to know me wouldn't even know that about me. They just, oh, she mean, she this, she that. People try to create whatever narrative about me to make the story that they have told other people true. And I understand that. I get it. When I wasn't growing, I was doing the same thing. So to tie all this in, all of this goes in together to talk about being mean, being friendly, the titles, the entitlement. Just like we confuse friendly with kind, we confuse titles with responsibility. And both of those things can have you misreading people completely. Like, those things actually have you in the corner crying because you're trying to figure out how somebody would even do that to you, when really you've misplaced these people in your life. I've even took it so far as to categorizing people in my life. Demote people as you see fit. They do it in corporate America all the time. We can still be cool. Like, you still gonna have a job here. You know what I'm saying? You're just not gonna be the manager. And I think if more people view life like that, maybe there wouldn't be so much going on. It's okay to say, dang, I totally misread this person. I have had a lot of moments like that where I'm like, dang, that was a good relationship and I wish we just would have stayed party friends. You know what I'm saying? Party associates, whatever. Strictly just, we never talked about personal life. You strictly a good time. There are people in my life I wish I would have kept that at. There are people in my life that I wish I would have just kept them where they were. Like, how did we get here? But that comes with growth, just realizing like, dang, I really messed up and gave this person this title. And that's why I'm so intentional about the relationships that I have around me. Friendships, family, and I'm all about vibes and energy. I don't do that friendly energy. If you friendly, you can just, we ain't gonna mesh. We're never gonna mesh if you friendly. We not. That's why my friendly friends, we have an understanding. We done went through some things. I done said some things and they didn't like it and they said some things. And I'm just like, oh, you ain't said it to my face. You said it to the other friend. You know what I'm saying? So that's that friendly stuff. But the thing is with that, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations with your friends. You're supposed to. That's a real thing. So I just really wanted to unpack today what like taking a deeper look into those things, the titles, the difference between mean and kind and friendly, and even correcting my own self with that. Because I made that TikTok, and when I made it, I meant it, but I used the wrong word. I'm not nice, I'm kind. I will do anything for anybody associated with me. If you associated or have been associated with me, you can't ever say, there was a time you called me and I ain't come through. I got a baby and I still come through to the level that I can. And then I like to communicate that. Like, I got a friend that just had a baby and I told her I was going to cook for her. And she was like, okay, da, da, da. Well, I did Taco Tuesday a couple Tuesdays ago, maybe like 2 Tuesdays ago. And y'all, the day beat me up so bad. I had got home late, cooked late, and I was like, I'm not going to make it back out to give you your food. And it really bothered me because I remember how it was to be in her position. And I remember people giving me false promises when I was in her position. And I remember how I felt. You know what I'm saying? So I'm texting her like, I'm so sorry. I kid y'all not, I was about to cry. I'm like, I'm not the type of friend that lets her friends down. Like, this is not me. I'm a good friend. And so she said something so powerful to me. And that's when I learned, okay, I'm connected with the right person. I didn't make a mistake by telling this person she's my friend. And I want to say we've been friends now for like 3 years when I realized we was friends. She'd been around for years. And I was just like, girl, I'm not fooling with you. I'm good. You trying to go get lemon drops and stuff? I'm good on that. But anyway, she said to me, she was like, Lacey, it's okay. You've always shown up for me. And I understand that you have a daughter and she's your first priority. It's late. You can bring it to me tomorrow. And I was like, You sure? Because me and Denver get in the car right now. And so she was like, no, I'm sure you've done more than enough. You've been so supportive. And that really touched me because a lot of times when you fall out with people, they start spinning this narrative that you're a bad friend. And that's the reason why y'all fell out. And what I'm learning is that everybody is not growing just because you're growing. Everybody grows at different points, and some people don't grow at all. You ever planted a flower and it didn't grow? Yeah. So it's the same thing. You got to do work to grow. You got to put the flower in a good place where it's going to get sunlight. You got to water it. You got to do all this. You got to check on it. And so when you relate that to yourself, when you want to put yourself in a position to grow, you got to put yourself in spaces that allow that with people that are growing. Okay? You got to be doing things that are going to help you do that. Therapy. I'm always going to advocate for therapy. People hate me. Oh, all you talk about is therapy. Yeah, you need to go. You need to go, boo. Therapy, whatever. If you're religious, praying, whatever it is, like really sitting down and watering yourself. So that is what I want to talk about today. I know we're wrapping up pretty early. Y'all know I really don't like to talk for too long because I can keep going. We'll be on a whole nother topic in another book, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So we will see y'all back next time on a new episode of Let Lacey Tell It. We out.